It started as a group of girls from like a choir, I think, at Miami, and they split off and they're like, hey, let's do an a cappella group, sounds fun. And I think it was like 30 years ago, and they actually were named the Misfits because it's like was an old cartoon of like superhero girls that were like really cool. So that's why we're the Misfits, not like the Misfits toys. But yeah, so I would say like it's meant the same thing for everyone. Like through group, it's translated because they just pass down traditions of black dresses, red heels, and it's just kind of like I don't know, it's a support group to lean on. It's not just like, oh, we sing. Like I know everything about every girl in that room and have so much respect and love for them, and that just translates.
We also have different voice parts in our group, and there's soprano, soprano 1 and soprano 2 typically, alto 1 and alto 2, and then there's mezzo in the middle. It always differs on each song because some songs will be split into 4 different voice parts and some will be split into 6 or 7. So that's typically the higher girls are the sopranos and the lower voices are the altos, and there's not really one set voice part per person. I know that in one song last semester I was an alto, and then in all the other songs I was soprano 1 or soprano 2. So some girls kind of jump around and some girls stay in their specific voice part for each song. The president at the beginning of rehearsal gives kind of the announcements for the week. We talk about potential gigs, different logistical things that she has to cover, and then the music director runs our entire rehearsal. We all submit different songs that we are considering for what we will sing for each semester.
We actually either have Misfitz arrange songs if they have time and if they're willing and if they feel passionate about the song. But we also, I guess, kind of outsource our work. So we have a couple people in the Oxford area and then actually a producer out in California who did our CD who arranges when he has time as well.
We're working for our concert that's actually October 29th. It's Acapella All-Stars. And so we're doing 4 songs at the concert. Pink by Aerosmith. Black Horse and a Cherry Tree, my favorite, by KT Tunshall. And then we're doing an Adele song. And I think Fallen by Alicia Keys. I keep on falling in and out of love with you.
Anyone can audition for the solos. So we put everyone's name on the whiteboard and then pick the names out of the hat of who will go first in the order of who will audition for the solo. And then each person sings, and typically we have 2 votes per member of the group, and then people will count the votes and we'll narrow it down to 2 or 3 people depending on how many people auditioned, and then we'll have a group discussion with those 2 or 3 people out in the hall, and our group discusses what we want as a group, and then we narrow it down to 1 person and we let them know, and then that's a soloist.
But we had time against us and miles between us, the heavens cried, I know I left you speechless, but now the sky is clear and it's blue, and I see my future in you, I'll be waiting for you when you're ready to love me again, I'll put my hands out, I'll do everything different, I'll be better to you.
One of the main things that we do for each song, once we've learned all the notes and the rhythms and put it together as a group, is we focus on what the meaning of the piece is. We normally pick 1 or 2 words that we feel like embody each piece. So that was how we started artistically developing this song, finding the meaning, and then from that we think of either a story or we talk about how this could have a certain meaning to each person in the group or the soloist, and then kind of elaborate off of that and start thinking about that when we're performing it. The Miami Misfits will now be singing If I Loved You.
We usually spend about like 3 or 4 practices like perfecting and learning a song, and then learning how to perform is almost a different aspect. So that just takes time till the concert. I would say concert week, we like kind of focus on performance. For me personally, as a soloist, I don't know how many times I sang it in my dorm room, but my roommate by the end knew every word. So, I mean, it's just something you do because you want to be the best that you can for your group when you're the soloist.
But I don't love you, not like how I wanted to. I don't love you, and that makes it hard.
It's been a process. We started it last year in the spring when we learned it. It was part of our spring set. And so we spent all spring semester up into our concert at the end of the semester preparing the song, learning it, developing it, finding the meaning within the song, and polishing the piece.
And make you the one. I will always have these regrets and wonder what else I could have done. I will.
I auditioned for that song because it really like felt like home to me. It was like the right amount of emotion, but I think it turned into something that I totally wasn't expecting. And by the end of the year when we'd sing that, it would be like everyone was in tears and crying. And I think it turned into almost like we don't love the transition of like being out of our comfort zones or saying bye to people or starting a new part of life.
It's a very personal song and has a lot of emotion, which Misfits tend to do better with extremely emotional songs. It's kind of easier to sing when you know what's going on rather than trying to find meaning. So the song came very easily to all of us.
'Cause it ain't here, love. No, no, no. It ain't here, love. No, 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 no. It ain't here, love. No, 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 no. It ain't here, love. And it just breaks my heart.
But it's definitely the best thing that I've done in my college career. So.